Sorry about that, my camera went out. I was just saying, these guys are called bastions. My brother painted these. They're the heavy infantry units for Aminov, and they have an ability where they could share damage. So I find they tend to stick around a lot longer. They hit hard than people. Well, they stick around a lot longer than people normally would give them credit for. They don't usually commit enough to kill these guys. So that's they're a good unit. However, I find they don't shine unless you have a caster that can give them armor buff. You want to give them +2 armor or more. Well, I mean, if that's the best you can do is +2 armor. So yeah, without the armor buff, not so great. But they really shine when you do give them that. Okay, so infantry's got to go really quick because there's like 5 to 10 models of each one. So I'm just going to show you the different units. Let's see. These guys I don't have fully painted yet, but they're called Incinerators. They're a little bit more armor than Bastions. Bastions have a better charge range. These guys, usually what happens if a unit's not that great, they get I call a UA or a solo that makes them stronger. And the Bastions actually have a unit, I actually have them, a solo that makes them stronger. These guys don't have one yet, and it's a crime because they're okay. Again, if you have somebody who can buff their armor, then they become a lot better. Really good actually. But otherwise, not so much. They do hit hard, but they don't have the reach. They really need a solo to give them extra armor, I think, or a UA, and then they would shine. These guys would be great. I have done well with these before because in a large, I find a huge scale battle, these guys tend to shine a little bit more because people overlook them, and then when they actually do hit into things, they do damage. So they're okay. This is a Sunburst delivery crew. It's like a cannon. It shoots really far. It does a lot of damage. I don't tend to take these very often. I find with Severus, he has the ability that makes everybody better. And they do a +1 to hit, +1 to damage. That's his feat-like ability I was talking about. It's called Aminov. And I find with him, these guys are great. Otherwise, not so much. But yeah, they shoot really far, do a big blast. You know, everything you think a cannon would do. You know. And then they come with a couple crew members, so they could take a couple, like they could lose these guys and still shoot and stuff. But yeah, they come with that. That's part of that group. They're called the crew or cannon crew or whatever. All right, moving on. We got Knights Exemplar. These guys aren't bad. I'm liking these guys a little more. They're good. For every one of these guys, you have a unit of 6 guys, and every time one of these guys dies, everybody else that survives has an extra armor and extra damage. So eventually, if you get down to the last guy, he's going to be like very powerful. I think he's like Weapon Master, which lets you roll an extra dice for damage, which is good. Anybody has Weapon Master hits hard, and all the guys are infantry guys except the Sunburst crew. I have they're all Weapon Masters. I like collecting the Weapon Master guys. Anyway, so they hit really hard. The last guy is like Power 16 Weapon Master, which is really good in this game, with like 20 armor, which is hard to kill. But they only have 1 wound. It doesn't take too much to kill these guys, but they're good. I'll move over to these guys. They're Knight Exemplar Errants. These guys, they have bows. This guy has it on his back. Some guys are actually holding them. And they could shoot a reasonable distance, reasonably fast. You know, they hit their power is so low, right? They're like power 9, so they don't really hit too much. I have scrapped like a Khador and Warmachines have the most armor on their heavy jacks. It's 20, and I have scrapped heavy jacks with a unit of these before, like 2 in one game. That was about it. Like, you have to roll really high. You have to be one of those people that roll really high on your dice. When you roll a dice, it's a d6, right? So you're rolling d6. When these guys charge, they roll 4d6, and that's how much damage you do. And you have to exceed their armor to do damage to them. So if you're a really high roller, then guys with the weapon masters you're gonna love them. Otherwise, like me, I'm an average roller. I'm right through 3s and 4s usually. So they don't tend to usually do too much for me, except they're a good meat shield. Tar pit, I think people call them. Yeah. And again, these guys, if you could buff them up their defense, then they could become reasonable. They get up to like 14 defense, which is at that sweet spot where people start messing you quite a bit. So they're a reasonable unit. They're good if I want to make sure I have throwaway models. They're pretty decent, and they're cheap for a lot of guys on that unit. I just custom these guys. I didn't buy the models for a unit attachment for them. Makes them better. Gives them Pathfinder and stuff, and they can't cast spells at them and stuff. So yeah, they're okay. All right, and that's it for my infantry. Now I'm gonna go up to solos. I have something that you could do to make your army a little more versatile. You could hire these mercenaries, and that's what I have right here at the top for solos. This is a unit together. You got Holt, Master Holt he's called, and that's Ayanna. Ayanna Master Holt is what they're called. She's like a spellcaster, and he's a gunfighter. And so she casts these spells and drops people armor, and that's basically why you take them. And he shoots them and protects the 2 of them. So yeah, good unit. I almost auto-include these if I'm going to be fighting heavy armor armies like Trolls or Khador. Right. Alright. I fully painted this guy. And that's Gorman D. Wolf. He just had an errata where he had this ability where you could throw these like black oil it's called. You throw them and it would make your opponent not be able to hit you very easily, and you would be able to hit them very easily, so they became blind, what was the case. And they just made a rule where the warjacks could shake that off by spending a focus. Before that though, like you can almost nerf a lot of like heavy beast or whatever just by hitting him with this guy. He's only 2-point model, right? So he was very overpowered. I never really got to use this guy very well. I never could use his black well very effectively. I never got anything. He just got shut off the board before I could ever use him. But I've been hit by this guy, and I tell you that could shut down almost. If you were really careless and had all your stuff in one spot, and it could really be like the crippling blow to you. But yeah, he's a cool guy though. Kind of got like a Darkwing Duck thing going there. Really cool looking guy. Here's another one, Iris Mage Hunter. Don't have that fully painted yet, but you know, with time I'll get to it. And she's an assassin type of thing, and she hates anything with technology. So she shuts down jacks and stuff, and she could be the end of a warcaster if she hits them. This is the epic version of her. She has another version where she looks like she's kind of like flying backwards, shooting with her crossbow. And I took this one because she's good against both factions, both Hordes and Warmachine. The other version, her original version, was like the end of it's like a hose against Warmachine. She was like, if she got to your caster, the game was pretty much over because he didn't get his focus back afterwards. So it was bad. But yeah, she's very fast. Yeah, pretty cool. And this is my last mercenary. His name's Rupert Corvolio, Piper of the Ord. Oh yes, I remember that, Jack. I told you I would remember. Sanctifiers is what they're called. Yeah. Anyways, this guy's called Rupert, Piper of the Ord. This guy helps your infantry. He can make them tough. It's an ability that if you're living 1-point models, whatever, and well, any of your infantry models, you give them tough. And what that does, you roll a d6, and if you roll a 5 or 6, they just get knocked down instead of just killed or destroyed or boxed or whatever you want to call it. And some people are really good at rolling those 5s and 6s. Me, I never roll them. I almost never make a tough save. I might make one out of like 30. So I don't really find him worthwhile. Although he has another ability where he could give people Pathfinder, which means you could move through forest. And I find that useful. Or charge over walls. That could be very game breaking. So yeah, but he's a cool guy. He's hard, almost impossible to kill because he could be really far in the back and influence everybody. Okay, now we're getting to Menoth solos. We got the a lot of people call this the book. Essentially, it's the Bible. Is this guy holding the Bible, and this guy over here is reading the Bible. This thing can make your units do flaming attacks, which you roll a d6 afterwards. If you roll 1 or 2, it goes off. If not, your opponent burns on their turn. They take damage. So it's setting people on fire is cool. Big thing about this guy, he could also say no more spells, and your opponent can't cast spells if he's within the range of this guy. So yeah, pretty decent, and he only can take 1 damage per shot, so it takes 5 shots to kill this guy. Yeah, and what's that called? Covenant of Menoth, I believe. Yeah. Alright, there's another model that my brother painted. He's got the eyeliner and everything painted on this girl. He did a really great job. He based it and everything. I think he liked painting this one. She's got a... It's, yeah, if you can see down right here, it's like a giant gun. It's like a shotgun sword that she has. She's like an assassin for Menoth. Nausea, Tear of Vengeance, she's called. And yeah, I think if you take people's advice and hang her back, or instead of throwing her rail in the front, because she's really fast compared to most of the Menoth stuff, and kind of hang her back and sit back and pick off the stragglers, then she makes her points back. So she's pretty cool, very fast. She's a weapon master, you know, I mean, yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Here's another model that I got my brother to paint. That is, it's Bastion Sanchazo. So it's a solo for the Bastions. Like I said, I had this guy. He has an ability that heals all your Bastions 1 life point per turn. And if you have a couple jacks with him, he could pawn the damage off, so he becomes almost impossible to kill off. You have to get through all the Bastions before you could get to him. So yeah, if you're something runs in, he gets a strike that hits first. He's a weapon master. Really good solo for if you have Bastions. If you take 2 units, you only need 1 of these. I have 2 of them for a giant battle, but you only really need 1. My brother painted that up. It looks pretty good. This is called a Vassal of Menoth. He's all chained up, and you know, he's kind of unwillingly working for Menoth, but he's kind of like a spellcaster guy. And he has ability. You want to take these guys. I love these guys. I love these guys. It's a support unit. That's kind of a problem Menoth runs into, is that they tend to have too much support, right? It's kind of hard to find that right balance of your infantry, your jacks, and then your support, because they have a lot of good support. They can make their jacks really strong. Make them more powerful than they are. And this is one of the guys that does that. He's called Vassal of Menoth. what he does, he could make your jacks, if they get hit, they could run away and not. And that could be very strategical. So your opponent sends something in, they think they're going to destroy it, and just walks away, and then you can't hit with the rest of his attacks. So that's called 11. Very cool ability. And the other thing is he lets them either shoot or attack again once extra time. So now your guys could either throw in that extra hit that would finish off a monster that you couldn't do before, or shoot twice, which normally Menoth just doesn't have. Like, normally Menoth can't shoot much more than once in a turn. Menoth's not one of the best for shooting. There's a faction called Signar for Warmachine, and they're probably one of the better armies out there. They're, my gosh, they shoot so hard. They're really good. And then next to that would be Retribution, another Warmachine army. They have great shooting. Aside from that, though, there's not too many armies that have a lot of great shooting. But anyways, this guy helps with the Menoth shooting phase. So very good model, Vassal Menoth. Very good. This guy's a reclaimer, right? This guy, I'm finding more use for these now. They help manage your put focus on your jacks. So what happens is infantry dies, and then he gets collect up to 3 focus, and then you can send the 3 focus to your jacks. So they're starting to see a little more use in my armies. Again, though, it's hard to find the balance of what support to bring, because there's so much good support in Menoth. There really is. This guy's a mechanic. Again, I don't have these guys all painted. I'm working on this guy. These guys, I usually have, they're only 1 point. I usually have a point left over. I usually don't. Most people don't do this, Menoth players, but I almost never leave home without a mechanic. I don't know how many times your warjack is almost crippled. One of these guys runs over, repairs him a little bit, and your jack's ready to go again, and he comes and saves the day. So, and I find a lot of times people will go their way to try to kill this guy, and he's just a 1 point model that doesn't really do that much. But I'd rather spend it on this than the racks. I showed you the racks already. I'm not going to show you again. All they do is give you an extra focus to your caster, so you could put those focus to your things, and they blow up. When they blow up, they do a big detonation of area. So if your opponent sends single point infantry to kill it off, then he's going to lose them. But I don't know why he would. He'd probably just walk over and hit it with a jack or something that could take the damage. This guy here is called Tristan Durant, I believe. Not quite sure if that's the name, but I think that's what it is. He is like a mini warcaster, and he's quite good. So he has focus, and he'll have his own jack that works with him only, or 1 or 2 jacks you could send with him, and then he could put focus on them. So if you're having problems with focus, having this guy on your team isn't a bad idea, and he's pretty cool. I actually like that guy. Haven't used him much, but because I just got him, but he's good. All right, here is called the Hierophant. He's like another little priest guy, and he's an attachment to your warcaster. So he starts off with your warcaster, and what he'll do is he could heal some guys. He'll heal your warcaster or whatever. He'll multi-wound. Heavy infantry have more than 1 wound. They have like 8 wounds, right? And or solos. Some solos have 5 hit points, so you could heal those guys with him. And he gives your jack, your caster, the ability to spend 1 less, and increases their range for their spells and stuff. So, yeah, he shows up every now and then on the board for me. Now we're getting into the bread and bones of Menoth. These guys are almost an auto-include. There's very few times, like if you're bringing all-out infantry, then you're not going to bring these guys. But there's very few times you're going to bring that. Maybe Krios 2 that I have, the Epic Krios. you might want to bring all infantry and forget about the jacks. So you wouldn't bring them. But anytime you have one or two jacks and they're kind of the focus of your army, you're gonna bring these guys to the table. And they do so much. They only could do one thing per turn, but they could add +2 to hit and damage to your jack. They call battle hymn. They could sing say a hymn like a prayer, right? A hymn of guarding, I think it's called, which your jacks can't be targeted by spells. And then they could do a hymn of passage, which often in the beginning you'll do this where your opponent can't shoot you unless they have magical shooting. And very few things in the game have magical shooting. A spellcaster could shoot spells, that would be considered magical shooting. Some spellcaster has magical guns. Some, like Retribution, I think could get around that. Signar, I think, could get around that, certain units, but a lot of times they'll save your jacks from getting shot to pieces. So these guys are almost always included with a Menoth army, always. A choir of Menoth is what they're called. So yeah, they're cheap. So, but yeah, very good unit. And last but not least, I have them in my infantry section. I got paladins with their nice flowing capes there, big shields. These guys hit like a ton of bricks. They're really fast, and if you take they have this thing where they can shield wall, where they can get up to 21 armor, which is good. However, if you take this guy, he's called Vielmon, and he's kind of like the captain paladin. If you take him, then those other paladins have another extra ability, and he gets it as well. Or you could go into stance, and you're immune to anything that's not magical. It's super good. You send these guys into zones, and unless your opponent has magical weapons, they just sit there and your opponent can't do anything. They're just gonna stay there. And this guy, those ones hit hard, but they don't have reach. This guy has a big sword. He's got reach, so he has an extra 2 inches of hitting space. So he usually gets in, and he has an extra attack too, because he's a champion. It's just one of his abilities, actually. And he's a weapon master. He's power 15 weapon master, which is crazy. So this guy, man, he is great. Just love this guy. Yeah. If your opponent can't deal with that thing is just he's gonna do a ton of damage to your opponent. So he's cool. So yeah, that was my Warmachine army. Yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Like I said, I'm having fun doing these videos. I'm gonna do you know, I mean, if I don't get a ton of views or nothing, and this doesn't become successful, it's fine. I'm having fun doing it. It's for a hobby right now. So what I'm doing is just putting out stuff that I love. I didn't mention this in my earlier videos. I do want to review a show called Wakfu, because I've asked a lot of reviewers to review it. Nobody has reviewed it. I feel it's one of the best cartoon, anime, whatever you want to call it. One of the best I've ever seen. What I love about the show is there's so much character development. The enemies, the villains in that are so well fleshed out. Like if you read Marvel Comics, whatever, they have two first season and second season villain, and that I'd say, you know, I mean, if you like Doctor Doom, well, they're on that level. They're just so amazing. Their motivations are so cool. There's just so much story and stuff, and it blew me away. I love that show. So that's one thing I'd like to review. I mean, just video games that I play, I'll review. You know what I mean? Games that I play, I like to do battle reports. I like to do. I talked to my brother about it. Like I showed you some of the stuff that he had painted for me, and that stuff, like, he hates Warmachine. He's not a Warmachine player. So he did this, and that's stuff I could tell just by his work. Like, it's good, but I could tell he's not enthusiastic about doing it. So he painted out, and it looks good. But there's some of the stuff that he converted and stuff that he's really passionate about. It's beautiful. I'd love to do a video of showing all his painted stuff. He plays Warhammer, Blood Bowl, stuff like that, and I'd love to do a video on that. My next upcoming video next week, I'm going to go out and buy some more Skylanders, and I'm going to do a video of that again. I'm going to put up what I get. I'll be traveling into the Halifax area to pick up some stuff, so I'm going to do another video of all the models I pick up, and you know what I mean, you'll be able to see what I have available. So yeah, I'll be excited to do that, and I'll see you guys next week. If you like this stuff, just please put likes up, or if you know what I mean, subscribe. You know what I mean, I don't have very many subscribers yet, but and I hope one day. If not, then that's cool. Like I said, I'm just gonna do all this stuff right now. It's fun. It's a hobby, and I'm gonna put up what I can, and hopefully you like some of the stuff that I like too, and you keep watching. All right, bye.